Hey guys, Sven here from Designated Driver, and today we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence. What if AI could develop a mind of its own, an opinion, or even a religion? What if AI could take over complex jobs like law, engineering, and even the arts? What if AI could do things better than us, things that today we consider to be truly unique to humans? That's what we're discussing today when I pick up my friends, Speedo and Beck. And I'm here to pick up Speedo right now. G'day mate.
Hi Sven.
How are you?
I am doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I am smashing. Mate, today we're going to be talking about AI. We're going into a pub. You guys are going to have a bunch of drinks because I'm driving. How do you think this is going to work out?
It's going to work out fabulously, Sven, and talk about all the things that AI is going to do to our lives.
Why is it even important? Is anyone else talking about this?
Everybody's talking about it. Honestly, if you've been living under a rock, which is fine if that's what you're into.
Well, we got one of those. We'll pick her up later.
Actually, yeah, we do. From Stone Age.
From the stone. That's right.
But a lot of people are talking about how it's going to impact their lives and, more importantly, their jobs. Is it going to take the jobs away?
That's correct. And we've been through these things before. We've been through these massive transformations before. What's different about this? Why do we even care?
Because AI is going to take over what is uniquely human, that intelligent part. And once we develop it to an extent that it becomes super intelligent or super general AI, it will probably decide that we are all a bunch of useless species and it's going to get rid of us.
So you reckon your take is that we're all going to die?
Absolutely.
Could it be different? Could we all just make a better place out of all of this?
This morning in the news, I actually read we've used machine learning to come up with a new antibiotic.
Yep, there you go. In fact, it's in the news, it's on podcasts, it's on the radio. Everybody's talking about it. No one really knows what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Why don't we just stop?
I'll tell you what, you made an assumption there, which is nobody really knows what's going to happen. We actually do have a person that definitely fits that profile. She has got no idea about what's going to happen. Let's pick her up.
That's only because she's probably been through some of these transformative things, the Ice Age.
If you do a genome analysis, how many percentage of her genes do you think is still Neanderthal?
We know she's been through the Ice Age because she still gives you the cold shoulder.
But we do need an old person's opinion.
Yes, and let's go pick her up right now. Hello! How are you? We gotta get that right.
Hello, Rebecca.
Welcome to the show.
You can sit on the seats as opposed to lie down on them.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about AI, as you know. We're going to have alcohol, but tell us, where are we going?
We are going to the Carlton, which is on Burke Street in the CBD of Melbourne. It is a great place. We're specifically going to the Husty Bala Bar, which has a big elephant's head over the DJ box, great booths. It leads onto the Palms deck. There's the Palms rooftop. Great international and local beer and wine.
Elephant head in a bar?
Because it's a wild jungle theme. It's an awesome place.
Is that why you're going there?
So, why'd you choose this place, Beck?
So they cater for everybody: vegans, vegetarians, meat eaters. They have palmers, they have burgers, they
Sounds
have
like
a great tapas menu. It's a great place, and you have to get there. If you have never been there, you have to get down there.
So Beck, why do you think you are in this fabulous trio?
Are you serious? I'm like the magic fairy dust in between your bullshit.
Back in her time, magic was a real thing.
Magic was a real thing.
Excuse me?
I mean, they would burn magicians and,
Yeah.
but it was a real thing back
Where's
then.
the board button? I'm bored.
We need to bring the board button into the car for the next time. Seriously.
It is in the car.
Beck, AI.
Yes.
Give me your initial view. Why are we even talking about it?
I think it's on the top of everybody's mind, right? It's something that we discuss and work quite closely with. I think it's of interest to pretty much everybody.
Yep. But of course, we are unlike everybody else. We are in fact the experts in the field. So we're going to bring an element of truth to all of this, because with all the misinformation getting,
I thought that you were ordinary and you were boring. and that I was the sparkle in the middle.
And
Dementia.
then we had alcohol.
It's a
Add alcohol and wow, magic.
Everything in our minds, we become legends in our own little lunchboxes, and life becomes
Oh,
good.
look, I just think that all three of us give a different view to what the impact is on society, really.
I think that's the key word, Beck. We actually focus on the impact of it, and that's probably what makes it a bit interesting, because the impact can be just about anything.
And then the alcohol just allows me to put up with spending time with you both.
one thing none of us covered. We all talked about the impact, was things that nobody has thought of.
Like giving you a personality.
Making this interesting.
Sorry, impossible.
Making this interesting would be a good one.
Hey everyone, welcome to Designated Driver, a show about ordinary people talking about extraordinary things in technology. And today, as you just heard in the car on the way over here, we are talking about artificial intelligence. However, we are not the designated drivers.
I am. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Good to be first.
You're welcome,
Cheers.
Sven.
Cheers.
So, what
Vodka.
are we going to be talking about? What are we going to delve into today?
So, as you heard in the car, basically, artificial intelligence is a very big subject line. It's important, it's interesting, and we're going to try and just delve into some of those things. And some of the things that I mentioned in the car was, what if it took over jobs, for example? Is that good or is that bad? What happens if artificial intelligence actually does things better than we do them? And then also, if you extrapolate a little bit more, what if artificial intelligence does what we consider today to be uniquely human? And do we even know what that means?
It's a good question. Do we know what that means? What is uniquely human?
Not him, that's for sure. Let's ask the not human guy.
I actually don't think there is much that is uniquely human.
You
If
would
you
say
think
that.
about it, of course. If you think about it,
No, EQ.
what we classify as uniquely human is intelligence. Otherwise, like other animals, we are just another living organism.
I wouldn't have thought that,
No,
actually.
nor I.
What about
And that's why you guys are wrong, and I'm here to correct your errors.
Well, think about this. Here's something that's uniquely human. Falling in love, you could say, is uniquely human. Religion, or believing in something that may or may not exist. No animals do that. That's uniquely human. So if you consider where artificial intelligence might go, it might go all the way here. Why do I say that? Because if you look at artificial intelligence in the same way that we've evolved, where each artificial intelligence being starts building its own personality.
Oh, board button. Okay.
Oh,
so
you're doing there.
So. Let's just give a little bit of background to the board button. It's in our intro, of course. However, where the board button actually came from was a friend and I.
It happens when you're bored,
So,
and someone else gets to talk.
so basically, you have to stop exactly what you're talking about and change the subject. I don't get to tell my story. I'm sorry.
Was that not clear enough? Speedo, make something important.
Basically, Sven, what you're saying is you've named a few concepts like falling in love, which are, if you go back to the roots, it's a chemical reaction in your brain. It goes back to the whole intelligence thing, not really uniquely human.
Absolutely uniquely human.
What?
Okay, great. So animals get married. Anyway, the point is we can't go down that rabbit hole. The point we're trying to make about artificial intelligence is don't think that it's impossible for artificial intelligence to get to a place that is close enough to almost, if not, be human. And if you take it far enough, Speedo, yes, artificial intelligence can eventually create a community. It can eventually create its own personality. And just like human beings, over time, it could in fact create a religion.
So take it a step back and explain to our audience what you mean by that, how it could potentially create its own religion. Like we just started artificial intelligence
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we've got computers with a religion.
Correct. So, good time to talk about what artificial intelligence actually is,
Yes.
right? So, from my perspective, the first thing you need to look at is how does the human brain work, right? And the human brain, what makes us unique is that each one of us has a unique way of experiencing the world. Those unique experiences create unique connections in your brain, which we interpret as being our personalities or our beings or our souls, right? Take that to a technical level, and I'll let Speedo, before he hits that button, tell us how, from a technical level, it's quite similar to that.
It's actually very simple. In my opinion, artificial intelligence is anything that gives the impression that you're dealing with an intelligent being. Simple.
Like not at this table.
Like
Not
10
even
seconds
interesting
worth, as
at all.
opposed to what Sven was going on about,
So,
which
let
had
me,
my hand hovering over the board button.
What
So the
Speedo
qu-
was trying to say basically is very similar to the human brain. Artificial intelligence does the same thing. It learns from its experiences, and thereby it can be biased just like human beings. It can learn its own thing just like human beings, and therefore it can make decisions. So the question is, are you taking this information as verbatim? And this is the problem with artificial intelligence. We think it's intelligent, but we don't really know.
So Sven, you're touching on a few things there. One is you're mainly referring to, I guess, what's called general artificial intelligence. So let's just get some definitions on the table, right? We have narrow AI, which is what we've been using for a very long number of years.
And it's a bit like Speedo.
Correct. Very good at specific things.
Very
And
fucking
don't
hopeless
have
at other
much time
things.
for other things. But that's narrow AI, and we've been using that for a while. So if you're on YouTube and you see videos that come up that seem to be, videos that you're interested about, that's narrow AI. It predicts what sort of, thing you want to watch, and
It has a narrow level of expertise.
Correct.
Yep.
Then we have general AI, which we don't have. We've got the concept, which is an AI that is actually really good at multiple things. So not only can recommend the next video for you, but it can also draw you a painting and play you your favorite music and everything else in between. We also have a new concept, which is called super general AI.
What the hell is that? It's not
Great question.
This is just how
It
we
is
rehearse.
not Speedo.
This is exactly how we rehearse this.
This is as technical as you're going to get, so go for it.
Correct. So that is where you have a general AI that can actually teach itself and reprogram itself to become better.
So let me ask about that, because that's where, sorry, Beck,
Yes,
that's where we're
good
taking it to
question.
that next level, right? So the super general AI, that's the part where you can really talk about whether or not these things start having opinions, when they go from computerized objective results to human-like subjective results, because they are learning, as we are, about everything that's around them. But is their answer going to be objective? Is it going to be subjective? We already know that there's bias in AI and in databases and in machine learning. Why wouldn't it be the same case that if an AI engine of that brilliance wouldn't actually develop an opinion?
Yep. So if we just bring it back to
Just get into the money shot.
Oh, the money shot. Do the money shot.
So the money
And go.
So the money shot there is, if this entity gets oh no, don't do that. if an entity gets, I can't do that. There's too much pressure. If it has an opinion, does it have rights? You see, we just take it one step further and one step further, and then we talk about certain AI that already has citizenship.
Okay, so let's just bring it back a little bit.
Boring.
Just a little bit. So when you're looking at things like, and I get it, I understand what you're saying, but if we just take it back, just a back step into like the movie Her, right?
Yes.
And we've spoken about this previously, where there's that scene in the movie where, the guy is walking through a museum. He's got an earpiece in his ear, and it's basically like a Siri, and he's developed a relationship with Siri.
Yeah.
And then this voice is like,
We have all heard that. Carry on. Make your point.
The audience has not heard it yet, have you? So
They've seen it.
So what happens is you
Onward.
might
Please,
remember this scene where she says, I can feel you, like they develop a relationship. So he's like, I can feel, your hand on my back, and I have an itch and you scratch it for me. And she says, I did not know that I was capable of these feelings. Now, this is the thing, right? Is it all programmed, or is it learning?
Well, and that's the thing. That's where it's that fine line of whether or not we as human beings are experiencing this AI and relating to it such that it is human. Because there's a huge need in us sometimes to relate to something as though it were human, whether it's human or not. And that's what Her sort of brings out, is we actually want to believe it, because we want friends that always like us and aren't as complicated as human beings.
I have friends that always like me.
Not really, Beck.
Peter doesn't. Do you have friends?
Who? What you guys are
What's a friend?
What you guys are very good at is grabbing a very simple idea like artificial intelligence and making it extremely complex.
Well, let's
It's not that
simplify it again.
complex.
No, let's simplify it, because we talked earlier on as well. What if it took over jobs, right? What we consider difficult jobs, and Speedo doesn't get this, but obviously law, for example, is very complex, right? What if artificial intelligence did a better job of doing law from an objectivity perspective? Law is so complex and it has such a long history and is always based on a precedent in the past. So it depends on your law team or legal team's ability to research and do all those sort of things. Artificial intelligence can take all of that pain away and just give you a ruling, and it truly makes justice blind, which is the key part of law, right?
I think anything such as law or anything that you can follow basic rules is actually not complex. You can break it down into simple basic rules. Creativity, invention, new ideas, they are complex.
I
Low,
agree.
boring as bad shit.
Even
Like you
so,
can't actually go to a performance with maybe at some point in the future you'll see a robot dancing around the stage, but something like going to the ballet or hearing like an orchestra play or like these things are.
all of that can be done better
You think
artificially.
you think a robot can get up there and dance better than a
So-
human being?
So that's a really good question, because now you're crossing over to the physics of robotics, right? So no is the answer. You're not going to get a human body and the subtle, the movement that you're going to get out of a human body very soon. But in terms of from a CGI perspective, I would imagine that robotics could create a You can't,
Couldn't
why
help
me?
it.
I'm the designated driver. I'm the one making sense
No,
here.
okay. So I've got another question, right? So we talk about well, actually we've just talked about some more not complex to you, but more some complex things to majority of people. But I think when we bring it back into what's important to people today, and especially when you're talking about people that may potentially lose their jobs. And we spoke about this previously as well, and I know you're going to hit the board button around the friggin' avocado in a
Summarize it.
supermarket.
Give me the elevator pitch.
Oh my god! Okay, so
Even I'm bored.
there are more brown onions sold in supermarkets than anything else because it's cheap, right? So you can't possibly have somebody in self-serve checkouts being able to pick up every single thing that people are doing. So people put through avocados as brown onions, but there are programs that are being developed
Never
that can
thought of
pick
that.
up. Yeah, no, nor have I. But there are programs that can pick up different shape and color and so forth, so that basically an AI machine can then say, okay, this isn't an avocado, so it doesn't go through, which means job losses, right? All of a sudden, you don't need people working at those registers. So it's kind of, when you've got AI completing jobs where they don't need a tea break or a lunch break or an afternoon break or finish after 8 hours,
So, thank you. What you're touching on there,
people
Rebecca,
losing their jobs is what I'm
that-
touching on.
That was way quicker.
the button was pressed, you were not allowed to speak anymore. What you're touching on there is a very simple concept of people losing their jobs.
Correct.
I'm not sure why you had to elaborate on it, on onions and brown onions and avocados.
Maybe people
It's a
want to
very-
put through brown onions avocados as brown onions.
A very simple concept. For you, perhaps complicated. I understand that. But simple. And the
You
question is...
literally offended like half of our audience.
No, just you. But the question is, will AI get rid of jobs?
So-
Absolutely
Yes.
it will. Yes.
So here's the interesting thing. While we're going to go there, right? Yes, it'll take over jobs, but just like any other major disruptor in the world, it doesn't actually stop jobs. It just changes jobs. The same reason we don't change horseshoes anymore. Instead, we're changing tires because horses were replaced by cars. So jobs change. But here's the difference, right? In every other major thing that we've gone through in the past around disruption, we've always had the upper hand because we've had the intelligence. Whatever we create, we can switch it off. We can manipulate it. We're in charge. The risk with AI, if you look at all the doomsday people in the Terminator movies, is that by giving the intelligence away, which is effectively what can happen over here, what is our stop button? What is our board button for AI? And that's the part that's unclear and makes people scared.
We actually don't have a board button for AI because it's very much like the internet. Can you switch it off?
But you see, you're right. AI takes all of that.
You can, but do you want to?
How? Elaborate, please. How do you switch off
I'll
the
just
internet?
unplug my computer.
That's switching you off.
And that's why we have Rebecca here. Because she will give you the views of that 0.001% of the population. Which,
Wow.
statistically speaking,
Wow.
it's pretty much irrelevant.
Okay.
Oh my goodness me! Oh my good. Look, I think this is a good point to to make now. Is that when you start talking about AI, and I know we spoke about this before again as well, is how what happens when things are so automated and happen so automatically and building things and
And they do it better than
right, yep.
us.
And maybe we can get to a point where people don't actually have to work, right? And there is lucrative money and so forth, like this ideal kind of utopia society that some people talk of. But what happens to purpose? Like, why do you want to live? Like, the reason why people get through all the hard times is that they've got a goal, they've got a purpose. It's something they're working towards, which is from here to there, right? So if you take away the
Purpose.
fact that you've got a purpose and all of a sudden you're just living, does
And
that...
that's.
Does it work?
I guess that's the thread. Is what I was saying earlier on about our uniquely human traits so far.
Right.
And I say
Purpose
so far.
is uniquely human.
The purpose is a good one, but having that intelligence to need a purpose, to
Yes.
need to be needed,
Yes.
all those sorts
It's
of
the
things.
need. Yeah.
You take that away in what you just said was utopia, in fact, could end up being a complete hell.
So thank you, Sven. You mentioned on very key point that having that intelligence to have a purpose goes back to intelligence. Thank you.
So you're at a pub.
Whether it's artificial or
So hang on, you're at a pub.
No, just him. And go.
Okay, so you're at a pub. You're talking about artificial intelligence. Why does anyone care? Why is it even interesting? So let's talk about it. There's some good, bad, and ugly bits about it. What's good about it? Just start there.
it can do a whole lot of things that we currently do, but a whole lot better and more accurately.
Why is that good?
Because imagine if you're going to a doctor for a diagnosis and the doctor gets it wrong, prescribes you the wrong medicine, and you end up dead.
Okay, so better results, less doctors, less human
That's
subjectivity.
what I said, but carry on.
You said it, but your England wasn't very good. Beck, what's bad about it?
I think that like the concern for people today is around the fact that they're losing their jobs, right? That's the concern. What am I going to do in the future? And that's, you know, there are people who are out there that they've always known what they
10 seconds. Go.
The ugly? To me,
Please.
to me, the ugly is unlike changes that we've had in the past. What we really truly do not know about AI is whether or not it takes that final key, that final stop button out of our hands, and that's where all the movies come from. There's a reason these movies get made, right? But we're in this conundrum, and it's been talked about on TED Talks in a million different ways. Is we can't stop it. Us as humans, as explorers, as inquisitive beings, we will keep going, even if we know, which we're talking about today, that it might actually kill us all.
And I think that's something that we didn't actually touch on yet, is what is the potential of like Terminator Doomsday?
Well,
Give it a percentage of likelihood.
so in my view, I don't think AI is going to kill us, right? Because there's far faster things that are going to kill us. Things like CRISPR, things like what we're doing at the biomedical stage. I think that is far more likely. Nuclear war is far more likely. AI is a bit of a slow burn, although we don't know that either. I mean, it could just bang, the Skynet style of things. But I think realistically, we've got way better ways of killing ourselves.
Imagine, actually, you don't need to imagine. Right now, if you look at the human society on a planetary scale, is that a word? Planetary.
Probably
It
not.
is now.
but-
It is now? Excellent.
We'll put it in
England
the
is getting
dig-
better by the day.
DD
More better.
dictionary.
Yeah.
More
Exact.
better.
By the day.
More
Anyways,
better.
point being,
I need more.
if you look at us humans, we are the cancer to this planet. We
I
have
guess it was
ruined
the
it in
Matrix.
every. We've ruined it in
You
every way.
I'm sorry. You're the cancer to this planet.
We have ruined it in every way. So
That's
if there
very
is an
biased opinion. No,
in
seriously.
every way.
When
Look
you
at
say we, that's on
humans.
us.
humans.
So-
Well, you're not human. I
So,
mean, that,
like,
that was
you-
established
you-
way before this podcast started. But Sven and I, as humans, we have ruined it. We've ruined the climate, we've ruined the environment, we have caused more species extinction than the meteor that struck the
You
struck the
ruined
Earth.
my
Okay.
mood.
Stop there for a second. Is it because I get what you're saying, and that's why all these movies are made. But actually, you're wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because we are just following the evolutionary process. This is how it works, right? Things happen, they come alive, they die, another thing happens. This is not human. This is what it's like to be alive.
Yes.
Right? This is what living is all about.
Absolutely wrong. Where are you basing that idea on?
Evolution, history,
What, your
facts.
mom's evolution? That is not history and facts.
This is why
It's
we go
us
to pubs,
humans.
right? No, but you're
This
blaming
is
it all
why
on
I
us.
drink.
This is why we
Plenty
drink.
of species have lived and died before we even got here, mate. Right?
Correct.
So
But we have killed more.
I'm not saying we should
than
look
all
after the
those.
planet. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a climate denier. I'm not all those things. I'm just saying this is how we roll. Exactly what we said earlier on, where we know that AI is going to really shake things around, right? Are we going to stop it? No, we're not.
So
Didn't expect that.
when I you were bored
Yeah,
too.
I bored myself.
Oh my god.
Hopefully you've got better friends than
Oh
I have.
wow! So like for me, I think about sometimes what are the jobs that will that will stay, and it's quite funny. I was trying to think about this yesterday.
Did it hurt?
Were you drunk?
Well, as
Again.
as you're going through all the great things that artificial intelligence can actually do, and how amazing it can be, and it's like, well, what's left? And the
Well, I'll
sad
tell
thing
you.
is, I'm thinking about like Instagrammers, right? That's not going to go.
Yeah, kittens, like videos of kittens.
But
Really?
people love to follow people, right? So that human element that you're talking about earlier, there is still a human element that people like to feel connected to. People don't feel, so apart from weird people like you, don't feel connected to a computer or a voice in their ear. They like to have an actual interaction with a human being.
But refer back to the movie, Anna. Refer back to the movie that you were
Shock
talking
horror,
about.
what a concept. Oh.
In your movie example, that was AI fulfilling that exact role of human connection. So there's a very good chance that can take over. I'll tell you what scares me about AI is as we get lazier, which we will, because your chest scans go to an AI engine and answer comes back. Your car drives you home, blah, blah, blah. As we get lazier and lazier and out of touch of what it is to be alive, you actually forget how to be alive. And if any of these things stop working, the difference between your fallback plan and reality just gets further and further away. So when the engine stops working, or there's a glitch in the matrix, so to speak, we will have no idea what to do.
So you're telling me you forget how to be alive, like how to breathe and eat?
All right. Are we now being boring? That is the question.
I'm bored.
Okay, you're bored? You're bored?
I'm bored.
But actually,
Let's wrap this up.
yes, no, but I actually think that it's worthwhile letting our audience know what is being spent on AI in every country.
Australia, for an example, we are
You're
spending $13 million, 29.9 to be exact, for 4 years of research and development, which is F all compared to what China or US or even Estonia is spending per head of capita.
What does that mean, though? Why is that a bad thing?
Well, the difference with AI
We're busy
versus
building.
any other technology, Sven, is once someone develops a general AI, the leaps and bounds that they will have in technology will be decades ahead in matter of hours or even minutes.
So the reason this is an opening conversation rather than a closing one is because that is spot on. It actually doesn't matter which countries invent what. It matters which corporations invent what. We've already got these massive corporations that basically put their product, solution, or thing globally across the world.
And that's why we're never going to do
You just bored yourself.
I know, a podcast on regulation. Although, if
Super
you,
exciting.
I mean, surely one of these guys are going to write a post about it and I'll repost it for you if you're interested.
Have already.
I think this is a great point to introduce our whinge file.
Ah.
We have a whinge file. Okay, so like I'm a very positive, optimistic person.
You're not.
These two, not so much, especially not him. So we would like to share a couple of things from our whinge file. I'll go first because
Oh, please. You've got
I
the
always
floor.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies first.
My whinge file is apart from these two being on the top of my whinge file, my other whinge file is the fact that people, when you're going out for lunch or dinner with them, they're constantly checking their phone. I mean, how friggin' rude. Bored. If you can't spend an hour with me without checking your phone, like, why are you even with me?
Next.
A problem that is uniquely Rebecca's. My winch file is when you hear a siren of an emergency vehicle, especially ambulances and fireys, people that don't give way. Get the F out of the way, let them through.
Agree.
That's very simple. My winch file is about facts, right? Where are all the facts? We're working in not 24-hour news cycles, not 4 hours news cycles, but it's down to half an hour news cycles, and facts have just taken a backseat on everything, and we're all reacting to all those things. The problem I have, though, in this winch file about facts is that even if you want to find them, you can't. So I just want to know where all the facts went, so that we can actually deal with shit that matters.
And so you can go to any of our social media pages in Designated Driver. Let us know what your whinge is as well. We'll play it in our next episode.
Could be this episode.
It could be.
I mean, really, have we achieved
It
anything?
could be his face, and I would understand 100%. Or, just tell us what you thought about this episode. post your comments, ask us questions, give us a video, we'll play it. So I think it's a good spot to find out what is our next episode.
For next episode, we're going to talk about something that is related to this topic, artificial intelligence. That was this topic. Next one.
Dumbass.
Too many
Like,
years.
intelligent, but
No,
really
not
dumb.
really. In the same
Was that
body.
wrong?
Ah, yeah.
Sorry, that was not PC. Sorry,
So
continue.
our next topic is going to be on cyborgs, effectively a cyber biological organism and what it is.
It's going to be interesting because it does cross the... It basically puts AI into the human being.
The worst part is that I have to drive on the next round. So,
At least I get to have some beer.
Speaking of the next round, Rebecca, do you understand the concept of a cyborg? Or do I need to draw you a diagram?
okay, that's it. We're out.